Was a retired NYPD Detective Scott Wagner. All right, good evening, Detective. What's your response to this?
Well, Your Honor, it's like this. The judge was at fault for not issuing bail.
Why?
Because bail is for two reasons. As a judge, you know this. Bail is usually issued, one, if you're a flight risk, or two, if you're a threat to society.
Right.
I think the charges speak for themselves in the fact that you're charged with terroristic threats.
And it's very clear under the statute that these terroristic threats are against the police department. It is a Class D felony, and a person is guilty when they try to influence the policy of a unit of government. And the question is, was this guy a flight risk?
Again, I'm not privy to his rap sheet. I don't know if he ever warranted out before on cases. I know now there's a bench warrant out for his arrest because he didn't return to court.
Right. So if there's a bench warrant out for his arrest and you know it and I know it, how could the judge not know it?
Again, like I said, the judge, I believe, made an error in her bail recommendation.
All right. Well, there's no question that the purpose of bail is to reassure that a defendant returns to court.
Correct.
But when you have a defendant who not only issued a terroristic threat saying that the police should be shot and showing, I don't know if we have the full screen, a photo of a guy shooting into a police NYPD cop car.
I've seen
and there it is right on the screen there. I can't imagine why this judge would possibly give this person, release this person free on bail, no bail.
Well, again, you nor I could get into her head and decide why she made any ruling that she decided on.
Well, let me ask you this. I checked her background, and she's got some questionable rulings in her past. But one thing we do know is that she, like all of the majority of the 7 judges that de Blasio reappointed, are legal aid attorneys or former legal aid attorneys, which means they're all former representatives of defendants. I didn't see anyone who was a prosecutor on de Blasio.
Well, according to published reports that I've seen, this judge was supposedly connected with the Manhattan DA's office. In what capacity, I'm unaware.
All right. Well, it's
but
interesting.
Then legal aid. And also what I don't understand is she was appointed to the civil court by Mayor Bloomberg. How she got to criminal court, I don't understand.
Well, it makes sense because if she was working for the Legal Aid Society, then chances are she was doing some criminal work as well. I did not see anything that she worked in the prosecutor's office. But the message that this judge is sending by releasing this guy with no bail, the 2 guys, is what?
Well, again, the message is sent is that we don't really care about the police department and who's protecting us. When this incident, this unfortunate incident occurred, when I say we, members of law enforcement didn't know exactly what they had going on. They don't know if it was just an isolated incident or it was going to be the start of a huge citywide assassination of police officers.
What?
Or if it was an apparent terroristic threat, an apparent terrorist act. Mm-hmm. Only a few weeks prior, it was the gentleman who attacked the officers in Queens with the axe. Mm-hmm. We don't know, again, if these are isolated incidents or this is something that's going to be planned. So when this goes down and someone starts making threats very shortly after the assassinations go down, mm-hmm. It's just like when an embassy is bombed in a country, mm-hmm. the FBI and various agencies start listening to chatter. Right. On the internet.
Right. And the concern...
And the chatter on the internet, in this case, led to the arrest of these individuals.
And, of course, you're a man with a great deal of experience, a homicide detective, but clearly the concern is for the protection of police. This judge didn't seem to have any concern about the copycats that might be out there, just like these guys appear to be copycats of the guy who shot Ramos and Officer Lou. Anyway, Detective Scott Wagner, thanks so much for being with us today. All right. And it's not just New York. Tensions are growing between police and community.